right, question for Coach.
All right, Coach, you talked a little bit after the game about, bouncing back from that loss. How are you guys faring in that goal?
Yeah, we got a ways to go. I mean, obviously, I told the kids this is a humbling game, right? And we got humbled pretty fast on Saturday, and so we got to figure out how we're going to respond to this, and we got to figure out how we can put these kids in the best position that they can execute and do their jobs. And so, it was bad on tape. I think there's a lot of people that I don't know if they hadn't bought into what we're doing, but we just kind of took turns making mistakes out there, and against a team like that, which I think was bigger than us, they were stronger than us, they were more physical than us. It showed up and it kind of compounded and kept rolling, and so. We got to have some leaders that step up when bad things happen, adversity hits, which is going to continue to hit in every game. We'll have some type of adversity that hits us. We got to have some people step up and stop the bleeding for us and able to refocus and get things back going in our favor. And so, this will tell a lot about our mental toughness this week. We'll see how mentally tough we are. Do I know that? Absolutely not. I think Saturday will be a tell-all of the way we come out and the way we compete, and not even execute, but the physicality and if we can come out and play harder than our opponents.
Tackling was kind of the big issue that people pointed out after the game. Just what have you seen after kind of going over on film, and how are y'all addressing it this week?
Yeah, that was pretty obvious to see. And so, we're going to change up some of our, tackling drill stuff. We do quite a bit of it already, but we had some guys in some good positions at key points in the game, and some of their explosives, are people that are bouncing off of them that would have been, 1 to 2 yard gains, and all of a sudden they turned into 60 and 70 yard touchdowns, and so yeah, it was something that showed up a ton on tape, obviously, and so tackling. How do you get better at tackling? You tackle people. And so, we addressed that today, and we have quite a few tackling drills going on and allow these guys to get more reps at it and be able to go out there and execute on Saturdays. And so, we knew that back was a good back. Number one, he was big, he was strong, he was physical, and he made some people miss, but there were other people that did as well. It wasn't just him. So, obviously, as a whole, we got to do a better job. And then, too, we got to do a better job breaking some tackles and getting our run game going as well. So,
You mentioned the run game. After you had a chance to look at it, why do you think you guys struggled so much in that facet of the game?
Yeah, I think, and some of it was my fault, inopportune. They were playing a little bit more aggressive on first down than second down. We got in a bunch of second longs is what I should say. And it allowed them, their defense coordinator, which did a great job, to play a little bit looser. And our third downs were awful, and a part of that was because our first down efficiency was so bad. And and I think we started tracking that the last couple of years. The data on it's pretty good. That teams that are pretty good statistically third down wise, their efficiency is pretty good on offense. And so I think, our first down led to some bad ones. We got some good boxes to run the football too, and they beat us. The very first play of the game, we had a very advantageous block, and they beat us in a one-on-one matchup, and they won and made the play in the backfield. And so, I think part of it was me probably not getting us into the right stuff on the right downs. And the second part of it is we did have some opportunities, and they were able to, kind of beat us up with some light boxes and stop the run with 2 high safeties.
Just looking at the depth chart here, Patrick Smith starts over Nick McQuassa this week. Just what went into that decision?
Yeah, obviously this is ever changing, and any kind of, you play college football and think that we want to give this team the best opportunity to win. And so just from a body of work of in that game, thought Patrick did some good stuff of tackling. Now, was Patrick perfect? Absolutely not. He had his miscues as well, and had a couple of busts here and there. So we got to get him cued in, dialed in a little bit, just because when he knows what he's doing, he was really good and thought he was physical, and he tackled well and did some of the things we were asking him to do inside the box in this defensive structure. So, yeah, I think he just earned it. He earned the right to do it, and too, there's going to be other positions that if people earn them, during the course of the week of practice this week, I mean, they'll be the people that you see run out there first on Saturday.
Just holistically, in the big picture here, what was your guys' issue defensively, you think, in that game?
And offensively and everywhere, I think that the biggest issue was people we're playing with 10, playing with 9, and the way these schemes fit together, and especially if you're playing a team that's a little bit bigger and a fast team like that, it exposes you in a hurry. And so, I think the emphasis this week will be all 11 have to do their job. And same thing, a couple third downs and pass protection that, our running back missed his assignment on pass pro, and all of a sudden it looks like the play's, an awful play because, the blitzer's on us right now. And so I thought, just holistically, from both sides, all three sides as a matter of fact, is there's too many times that we're playing with, 10 and 9 guys out there as opposed to 11, one guy making a mistake and those things show up in a hurry. And so, we got to do a better job of 11 people collectively doing what their job is in the scheme.
Is part of that challenge getting these guys to understand and play well in that scheme, or are you struggling with that transition?
No, I think so. I mean, anytime you have a new scheme, I mean, I think on both sides, I mean, that's a fair statement. This is something new. It's the first time they saw, an opposite opponent that does something a little bit different, that schemed for them, and kudos to them. I think they did a good job of scheming some stuff up. But there was a ton of opportunities for us to make plays, and I thought it showed a couple times with us doing our job, and we got a couple turnovers where guys are out there doing their job on defense as well. So I think there's a progression to all of it. Obviously, are we going to change and not run the 3-3 stack this week? Absolutely not. We'll be running the 3-3 stack this week. And, that's our job to fix things. And we're teachers, and we have to do a better job at getting these kids to understand what we're trying to get them to do and then execute on Saturdays.
Is it a priority this week to establish the run, or is it a priority to get your backs involved in the offense by any means?
Yeah, whatever they give us. If they're going to play, one high and try to take away the run, then obviously this offense is built schematically then to take the passes and do that. If they're going to play too high and place a little bit softer shells on us, then obviously we want to get the run game going. I think, it's going to be pivotal for us throughout the course of this year that we're able to run the football. And I believe in that. I believe in these backs. I believe in this offensive line. And so, I mean, we're gonna try to establish a run game. There's no doubt. And hopefully when we do that, it starts opening other things up.
You got Kevin back on the field for at least a little bit. His health situation improved to the point where he can really make an impact for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we wouldn't have put him out there if we didn't think he was ready to roll. And I think, naturally, he only had 1 week of practice underneath him, and so this will be week 2. And so he looked a little bit better today out there at practice, and I think you'll naturally see him progress back into his old self. Be huge for us. I mean, I wish we could have had him out there, a little bit more this past week, but had him on a pitch count, obviously with his stamina and stuff. So you'll see him kind of slowly work back into playing more and more. And so, and obviously, they played double the amount of snaps as we did defensively, and that's something that I think was on both sides. I mean, anytime you're going 3 and out like that in the second half, and shoot, I mean, I think we had 6 plays or something on offense in the whole third quarter, which is pretty atrocious right there. And so, we got to do a better job playing complementary football and being able to take care of one another. They get a turnover, we can't go 3 and out and give it right back. They're dead tired, and that makes even some of these things show up more, right? We talk about size and physicality, and that's not on them. That's on the offense not being able to do their job. And so all works together. We got to get better as a football team.
Can you talk about Kevin's impact as a voice in the locker room and his personality off and on the field? Yeah,
I mean, just everything you could want, not only from a football player, but I mean, his mentality is fantastic, and just the way that his presence out there is felt by others around. I think that's a sign of a great leader. Like, is he vocal? Yes, and do guys listen to him? Yes, but I think he's one of those guys like. Every rest of the defense feels more confident when he's out there just because of the presence that he carries. Absolutely. I mean, he's a guy that is someone that this defense needs out there in a big way to be able to help kind of rally the troops a little bit.
What do you see in FIU?
Yeah, I mean, I think, defensively, which I've spent the most of the time watching, obviously, the defense here, they haven't given up much. I mean, they've been in both of these games, obviously, because they've been able to, I think Coach McIntyre forever has been a great defensive mind. He's led the charge on some really good defensive teams. So pretty multiple. I mean, they're a 3 down front, but they'll jump into, a little bit different than ours, where they'll jump in with a jack is what we call it, and be able to get into some 4-man front stuff. But physical, aggressive, like to blitz, do some things that I think create some havoc and some problems that they're flying around, and you can tell that they're coached well. And so, and then special teams, just watching a little bit of that. I think there's some similarities schematically on both sides, special teams wise. And so, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, from some familiarity kind of with the way they line up for punt return, field goal block. They're similar to us. And then offensively, I mean, I've watched just a small bit of it, but I know they've changed quarterbacks. And so playing a freshman. So I think, after game 1, felt like it was time for them to make a change and ride with this freshman. And so hopefully, that's a thing. I've been a part of it before, and we've started true freshman quarterbacks in the past, and so yeah, hopefully we can take advantage of that. But I thought did some good things in that game against Maine, and was able to pick off the victory, and really close to beating La Tech too. I mean, a game that went down the wire. La Tech wins kind of with about a minute left in the game, knock off a big run against them.
That running back had an impressive game. You mentioned Louisiana Tech. He played well against them. Is he one of their key guys? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I think if you look at Lawrence is a bigger guy. I mean, 6 foot, 200 pounds. It's going to be big for us to tackle him again, which they've seen that all camp long. I mean, they've had to tackle all of our guys, which are, similar size to what he is. I think, they got an explosive guy in Chris Mitchell on the edge that, we're going to have to know where he is. And then, too, we're going to have to do some things, that maybe can, trick this quarterback a little bit, get after him a little bit, just knowing that, he hasn't seen a ton, which is, like ours, too. I mean, they're probably saying the same thing about Stone. He hasn't played a ton of reps in these games. And so 2 young quarterbacks battling that.
What is the message this week for the defense when they're facing another running threat?
Tackle. I wish I had like a great, like something more than that, but yeah, we got to do a good job of playing their gaps, and when we get there, like we were there so many times. I mean, 4th and 2, they end up scoring a touchdown, and we got 2 uncalled. I mean, Coach Capone had a great call, and 2 unblocked guys in the hole waiting for him right there, and all of a sudden you look up and he scores a touchdown. So yeah, we got to do a better job executing and tackling.
Talked about Stone a little bit there. Just where is his confidence after his first FBS start, and kind of what have you made out of his first start?
Yeah, Stone's going to be fine. Stone's going to be a good player. Starting in ups and downs early, was explosive, did some good stuff, made some great reads early in the game, and pushed the ball down the field, and got a little juice there. He made a great check on the goal line and threw a great pass on the slant. I mean, just picture perfect ball right there. And so, I think just the more you get into this offense and into it, as we allow the quarterback to check a little bit the line of scrimmage. So for us to be able to really watch film and get into his mind, and his mind get into ours, and be able to see those things and be able, it doesn't all come for us. Like when he sees something, give him the ability to check us and maybe get us into a better play. It's more advantageous for what they're running on defense. And so, yeah, it's just big for him, and put Chandler in to see if we can get a little bit of a spark there in the second half. And, just at that point, we just weren't able to really generate anything off. And too, the interception wasn't Chandler's fault either. I mean, he makes the right read and it's going. And if he doesn't get hit in the back, as he's throwing it and make it wobble, then I think we get completion and we're rolling right there. So, yeah, but I think, there's a bunch of growth from both of those guys. Good to get them in the game.
Couple more. Does this become a key stretch for you guys playing two Conference USA teams back to back, the old league for this program?
Nah, absolutely not. This is the next game. This is key for us because we got to get this taste out of our mouth and be able to rebound and go out there and put a better product on the field. I mean, that was not a product anybody in this building's proud of. And so conferences doesn't matter. Any of that stuff's out the window. I mean, this is, and not to be cliche, but I mean, we got to be able to prove that we can play better football than our last game.
Blair Conrad came in the offseason. You talked a little bit about him over the build up here to the season. How is he making the adjustment to the FBS, to playing here?
Yeah, good. And that was one of our notes coming back. I mean, I think he played like 16 or 17 snaps. We got to get him on the field more. And so, you know, but between him and Jordan Smart, we got to get those two guys out there a little bit more and get the ball in their hands. Kaylon Horton, same thing. I mean, we got to be able to use our creative side of our brains a little bit and be able to find ways to get to those playmakers in space.
What do you remember about recruiting him when you retired?
Which one?
Conrad.
Yeah, just and he's just grown up so much. You know, I've known the family forever. Mom was arguably one of the greatest basketball players in Texas Tech history. You know, behind Cheryl Swoops, and so they're West Texas people. His dad used to referee when I was a basketball player. He refereed me. I think he teed me up one time for talking trash. But great family, great kid. I mean, raised the right way. I mean, he came here. He hasn't batted an eye. He's respectful. He does all the little things the right way, and pleasure to have him on our team.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
You talked about, Coach talked about regrouping after that last game. How's it going in that regard for you guys?
Yeah, so obviously we didn't get the outcome we wanted, the result we wanted, but all we know is this week we have a great opportunity in front of us. We kind of watched the film from last week, just correct everything and make sure we know our assignments for this week because we have a great opportunity this weekend to kind of get that bad taste out of our mouth.
Got that first FBS start out of the way. Just what do you make of your performance and kind of what have you been thinking this week?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously there's a lot I left out on the table. The main thing for me is I just got to be more consistent, just play the game, and that's the main takeaway. It just find completions, move the ball, and at the end of the day, we gotta put points on the board.
So what was the issue against Cal, you know, the struggles there?
I mean, you could say a lot of things, but the main thing is just we gotta find a rhythm and move the ball down the field and ultimately score points. That's how you win games. And people want to say like, yeah, the defense let up a lot of points, but we didn't do our job by moving the ball down the field. And there was a lot of 3 and outs that we had, and that's a quick turnaround for them. So it's mainly our fault that we gotta make sure they get their rest and that goes with us moving the ball down the field and making sure that they can get rest on the sideline while we're in there.
Did they just control line of scrimmage that whole game against you guys?
I mean, you could say at some points, and I mean, at times we did some great things, but kind of just reiterating, we gotta execute better, and just do our thing instead of worrying about what the other team is doing.
You guys have FIU this week. What do you see in their defense?
Yeah, so they ultimately run out of a 3-man front, and then they have that kind of jack player that's what we call it, kind of like we had last year in our defense, that kind of will come down and play on the line and then also drop out and play in the flat area. But yeah, they have some great players that we see. They have number 97. He's a great player, and then their nickel's a great player. So just a lot of players that have great potential in their defense and that play really well. But we're just looking to go out there and kind of get that bad taste out of our mouth and ultimately move the ball down the field, score some points.
What was the overall team message to get past last week?
Yeah, I mean, so what we've been kind of telling the guys is just we had that event that happened, and we only can control what we control, and that's our response this week. And Coach Kagan's and the strength staff does a great job of kind of building that in us and knowing that we gotta control our response, and that's kind of wiping away what happened last week, learning from it, because we still have everything in front of us, all of our goals, and what we want to accomplish this year. And I mean, it's good we get a game underneath our belt, and now we can go out there and just play freely.
Had a new center this last week with Minor. How did he do, and how's that progressing with him, kind of anchoring your line?
Yeah, I mean, both of our centers are great players, and I trust both of them whenever they're in the game, and love those guys. And I know that no matter who's in, they're going to lead. They're going to lead the O line, make the right calls, and be extremely physical and help us out.
You getting to know Ethan a little bit since you?
Yeah, he's a cool cat. I mean, I enjoy being around him. At first, he was a little quiet, but once you get around him a little bit more, he's a cool guy. Just kind of learning where he came from, and then what more about him is it's cool to learn that. So.
Hit Macklin for a couple touchdowns last weekend. Just talk about him as a player and just kind of, how big of a threat he can be for this offense.
Yeah, he's obviously, y'all know this, he's a great receiver, and we have a lot of great guys that can go after the ball and catch. But, I mean, we came in together, we transferred here together, so obviously a lot of work that has been put in with that connection, knowing that he's going to be at the right spot, he's going to make some plays, and that's all of our receivers. Like I trust them to make plays, and I got to do a better job of getting the ball to them in space. And you got to find completions, get them the ball, because we got some great guys in that room that can go.
Yeah, one of those guys that transferred in the offseason was Blair Conrad, who actually played in the national championship game last year. What has he added to the team, and has he kind of shared any of his stories from that experience with you?
Yeah, so he's a cool guy. I remember Rod saying that he's a funny guy, and he definitely is, but it's just a different kind of funny. But, he brings a lot of savviness to that room, just kind of finding the right space. Kind of like I said, he's going to be at the right spot. When he's going to break. He's just one of those easy guys to read and see where they're going to be at the end of or the top of that route. So, yeah, he's just – I mean, all of those guys are great to throw to, and they make my job a lot easier. But, yeah, he's a great receiver, and I like throwing to him.
Your third touchdown was to Xavier Katai. Just kind of having a big target like that to hit. Is that useful?
Definitely he's come a long way since I've been here, and he's also kind of from the same area, Euless Trinity. And, he's one of those guys that's extremely physical, and if you put the ball on him, he has strong enough hands that he can make a play. As y'all saw that, I think that guy kind of like flipped him as he caught it. It was a great catch, but yeah, just finding those guys and knowing that they can make those big body catches is nice.
These next couple of weeks, you're playing Sun Belt teams, FIU and Louisiana Tech, and you guys saw those teams in the past.
Yeah.
Despite the fact you're moving to new leagues, does that give you any insight heading into this stretch against those two teams?
Yeah, you kind of from the past years, you kind of watch the film and just see what things have worked in the past whenever they play different teams and similar teams that we've played. And it's great to know that you're playing a familiar opponent, but as we all know, every year is different. Every team changes, and we know they've gotten a lot better since our game last year. So we know we have to go out there and just execute and do our thing at the end of the day.
Does this become a key stretch with a couple of games against Conference USA teams and
Yeah,
ECU and all that?
Definitely. Just like I said, we have a great opportunity this weekend. We don't like to look that far ahead, but just one game at a time, knowing that we don't want to look ahead and just focus on what we have in front of us, and that's this week.
Cool. All right, Jordan. So Coach talked about bouncing back after last week's game. How have you guys fared in doing that?
We're really just going out, just executing our routine plays, just eliminating the missed assignments, and on defense, the missed tackles, miscommunications, and everything, and really just doing our routine things that we do normally in practice and everyday stuff, and that'll fix all the problems.
Tackling was obviously a key issue last week. Just how have y'all kind of been addressing that, and what kind of happened against Cal?
I feel like we just weren't wrapping up. You got to put body on a body and not just arm tackles. You really got to run through, wrap up, and gang tackle, and that'll really help us. That's really what we've been focusing on.
As you look at it holistically, what was the issue against Cal for you guys defensively?
Missed assignments. Missed assignments and missed tackles was the number one thing that killed us in that game. and that's point blank period. Like, we just missed assignments.
Is that a product of maybe moving to a new defense and struggling with that change?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the product of moving to a new defense. It's maybe the product of just being focused on what you have to do, on just your job at that moment, not anyone else's job. You just have to be trustful of your guy to your left and your right to make their plays. And if we trust everyone, we're all doing our jobs, focus on our keys, and then the missed assignments will be eliminated.
What has been Coach Capone's message to y'all this week after last week?
Focus on the little things. Because little things are things that beat us in that game. Like missed assignments, it wasn't effort. Was effort really a thing? No. You missed tackles, not wrapping up, that's a little thing. Reading your keys, that's a little thing. So it's focus on the little things and just wrapping up and playing together.
You guys kind of determined to show that you're better than what you played against Cal as you go forward the rest of the season?
Yes, 100%. That's the whole goal of every season, is show you can get better every single game. Like from the beginning to the end of the season, you grow as a team, getting better at every little thing.
What are you seeing out of FIU?
Just another team that we have to play. We at this moment, we're focused on ourselves, on the things that we have to fix for us. If we can fix the little things for us, we can play any team in the country.
That freshman quarterback that kind of had a big Saturday. Just what have you seen out of him while watching film?
They just played it well together. He can read his keys. He's like really focused on what he has to do, and it's just us to stop him.
You guys have any sense of pride going into these next couple of weeks playing Conference USA schools? You moved out of that league, you moved into the American. Is there a sense you want to represent well for this league against your old league?
I mean, when you look at it that way, we really don't just see it as our old league or anything. We just see it as a competitor. We just see another team on the schedule that we have to go beat. It's not about who conference they're in. They're just another competitor, and we don't shy away from if it's a lesser opponent. If that's the way people see it as, it's just another opponent that we have to go and impose our will on.
Does this become a key stretch for you guys these next few weeks before you get into conference play to kind of get something going?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's got to get something going, got to get everybody going together, just build as a team. That's our whole goal.
All right, Logan. So Coach talked a little bit after last game about bouncing back and getting back to who you guys are. How have you guys fared in that regard?
So you repeat the question?
Yeah, how do you feel like you guys bounced back after last week?
I mean, we just gonna do what we know how to do. That was just the first game. Everything's happening so fast. We're just gonna calm down and get back to the roots and get ready to go on Saturday.
Patrick Smith gets the start at the Star on Saturday. Just what have you seen out of him?
Oh yeah, that's a little pit bull right there. He gonna get in there and he gonna do what he's supposed to do. He gonna make plays and he gonna help everybody around him. So that's a good piece for us.
Kind of switching starters from Cal to FIU, does that kind of show the depth of the safety room?
Yes, sir. We got a lot of depth in the safety room. So like people just move around, just however the coaches feel to make the adjustments.
Now that you guys have looked at the film, what do you think the issue was against Cal?
It really wasn't an issue. It was more like a us thing. Like we gave them free plays, That's all that was. But we're gonna get it corrected.
How do you guys go about getting it corrected?
Do what we do, make routine plays, do what we do in practice, translate it to the field.
You guys kind of determined to show that you're better than what you played against Cal as a defense.
Yeah. We're better than what we played at Cal.
What makes you feel that way?
Just the way we been doing things since spring ball through fall camp. So we just got to go out there and just show and put all the pieces together.
So you believe this group is, capable of adjusting to the 3-3-5 scheme?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys have a little bit of a sense of pride. I mean, playing against a couple of Conference USA teams, I mean, you left that league. You're now in the American, facing your old conference, a couple teams you've seen before. Is there a sense of we want to go out and show that we've moved up and moved on?
No, we just going to go out there and just play our game. We don't care what conference they in, if they P5, G5, JUCO. We're just going to go out there on Saturday and just do what we're supposed to do.
From what you've seen, what do you think FIU brings to the table this next week?
They seem like a good group of guys. They seem like they fast, run a lot of RPOs and a lot of verticals. So we should have a good game.
Chris Mitchell for them, the receiver there, that outside guy, he had a big game for them, 201 yards. Just kind of in film, what have you seen out of him, and what kind of threat does he bring to the table?
I mean, yeah, he's a deep threat guy, but we just gonna, like I said, we just gonna do what we have to do, you know, contain him and just play our game. But I like him, Mitchell pretty good.
Yeah, heading into the season, it seemed like you guys were pretty confident that you'd adjusted well to this new defensive scheme. Do you still feel that way after the Cal game?
Of course, why would I let that up? The team, this is our scheme, so we gonna get right and we gonna adjust to it and we gonna be ready to go.